And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those also tuning in on the simulcast, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We welcome you guys to the broadcast as well. For those who are tuning in on Amazon Live, though, if you have not done so already, make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You see either here in this corner or down below. You will also see some, and I do stress some of the books from our returning guests. We're excited to welcome back best-selling author Dr. Velma Bagby to our broadcast. You know her as the author of the Catch series. The newest book is right here, The Catch Book of Fools. We're going to talk to her about the series. It's Small Business Appreciation Month, of course. So we're going to talk to her about the business of books that she's been building, but also what she's been able to do in using her platform to also be able to speak and share information as well. If you guys have not stayed connected with her, she has some fun things on her website as well. We're going to talk to her a bit about that and how you can get it. But Dr. Velma, hello to you and welcome back to the broadcast.
Hey, thank you, Cyrus. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, look, it's always fun to talk to you. I'm going to type a quick message to our audience over there on Amazon, welcoming them who are coming in late. One of the things I love now, Dr. Velma, on Amazon, even for the replay, it has the comments now, which is great.
Oh, really?
So now for people who will catch on the replay, they know exactly what they're watching, so which is really cool. Hello to you guys on IG as well. Glad that you all can be with us. So, Dr. Velma, let's begin where we are. As I mentioned, hello to you, Jacqueline. Good to be able to see you. Jacqueline says I'm back in the building. Great to see you, Jacqueline,
hey, Jacqueline.
on the Facebook side. I want to talk about this experience for you. We are celebrating small businesses this month. What has it been like for you to think about the business of books that you're building?
It's been exciting because I remember my baby steps in the beginning. You know, a lot of what I've learned along the way in terms of publishing my own books, the connections I've made, friends I've established who I love doing business with. So these are part of my inner circle, some great people. And so I'm just excited that I have what I have currently to support what I'm doing.
It's interesting hearing you speak recently. You've been doing a lot of speaking and doing presentations a lot, Dr. Velma, which I love to see. But It's great that, you had kind of thought that, that this stage of the game was kind of over.
Yeah.
But here you are now with this totally new career in many ways of not only, of course, being a best-selling author, but using your books as a springboard, as I mentioned in my introduction, to talk about some important topics: love, relationships, communication, trust, all the things that all of us need to be talking about. What has that been like for you? Because, counseling is not new to you. But what's it been like for you to take those principles and use them in your books?
Because I've always been passionate about trying to do something in response to some of the issues I witnessed during my conversations with single women, during my counseling sessions. And I just found that there was something missing that people needed to hear. We just didn't have that ability like we had when I was coming up, that wisdom was being passed down, poured into me, shared with me on these topics. We don't have that anymore. And I really wanted to figure out a way to be able to communicate that, to put it out there so that people who are looking for that kind of wisdom would have it available to them. So, that's why I'm really shocked and surprised at the response to the books, because I didn't know what it was going to be. I just knew I needed to get it out there.
Yeah. I love the fact, too, and you talked about this and you've written about it, honestly, in an anthology, Dr. Velma, and I've referenced it before, but it's such an important thing, I think, for especially aspiring authors to remember. Because I think anyone in any industry, Dr. Velma, because I think I remember when I first started in radio, because, my being, a Black guy from Mississippi, they compared me to Tavis Smiley, who's also a black guy from
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
So they were like, "You're going to be the next Tavis. You're going to be the next
Oh,
Tavis."
wow.
And I kept thinking to myself, "Why can't I just be Cyrus?"
Right.
you know, but
Right.
I got it that it's our nature to
Yeah.
try to compare others.
Mm.
The reason I bring that up is because of what you wrote about the writing process, that
Yes.
you had to trust your own voice in
Yes.
writing what you wanted to write, the way you wanted to write it. What has it been like for you to see that pay off for you, that you didn't try to follow what everyone else said, you really had to follow your own path?
I not only didn't follow that, but I remember being told that it was suggested that I create an outline and make sure I have the title of what I'm writing about and outline it and then write based on your outline. That drove me crazy. And that's when I discovered the title for the type of writing that I do. I use the jigsaw method, which means that as a creative, I create based on what I feel like writing on that day, what I feel inspired to write about that in that moment. So I'm not following an outline. I don't even know how the book is going to be laid out until I have all those pieces together. Once I'm done creating, then like the jigsaw puzzle, I put the pieces together. Then I can create an outline. So just discovering my voice, finding my voice and knowing what my voice was, and then discovering and becoming comfortable with my style of writing, which is the jigsaw puzzle method. So that helped me to move forward, because without that, I probably would still be struggling right now.
Love that. Hello to you on IG. We also simulcasting on IG, as I mentioned, Dr. Velma. Hello to you, 1425JP. Bestselling author Wahida Clark is in the building on Instagram. Hello to you, Wahida. Good to be able to see you as well. Let's see. The comment earlier from Jacqueline said that you're on her Mount Rushmore of authors, Dr. Velma. And Miss Queenie is here as well. Hello to you, Miss Queenie. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. We are primarily on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting this for Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. If you guys have any questions or comments for Dr. Velma, feel free to be able to put those in the chat. So, Dr. Velma, as I mentioned, we have some of your books here in the carousel on the Amazon side, and I see some have already clicked through to those that we have here. One of those, though, is something that's very special, and that is your personal story. I'm going to highlight it in the carousel, My 70s Love Story, which takes on some special significance now, because not only did you write about your 70s love story, your love just turned 70. You just shared that, on social media. What has that been like for you to share your own personal relationship with us?
Because people are looking for love stories, real ones. I mean, yes, the romantic genre is very popular in fictional stories. Romance is number one in terms of what people look for. But it's nice to be able to see something real, and that this is not fiction. This actually happened. And to sometimes my husband and I, we laugh at each other. Do you realize we met at 16 in 10th grade high school?
Yeah.
Has time changed. And so it's really interesting. And we find that people found it rewarding. And one of the things that my husband was excited about was the day I could reveal him to some of the readers, because they kept asking, when is Pastor Bagby gonna come live? He's not that type of person. He's not Mr. Social. He'll pop in every now and then, very supportive of what I do. But he's been with me along the journey.
Right. Ellen at ESP Presents says hello as well. And ESP Presents says love it. And I think that is the great thing, to have that support for sure. So let's go back, because as I mentioned to you, and I see we already have new people coming in over on YouTube that are asking what we're talking about, Dr. Velma. And I say this to Dr. Velma every time we talk. Every time she comes on, we have to start at zero, because because there are some people who have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to the Catch series. So I want to go back to how it all began, Dr. Bam. I'm going to highlight it in the carousel on Amazon for those joining us over there. The very first book in the series, everyone, is The Catch No One Wants. This is it here. So, Dr. Velma, what was it that kind of sparked this book?
There were two things. Well, my journey. My whole goal was to figure out a way to communicate some of the wrong methods women are using to discover their mates. And it's harmful. It brings hurt. And I call it high school dating, because that's all it does. It's when we were in high school, we dated for social purposes, to get out and enjoy the person, that kind of thing. But when you're dating for marriage, when you're dating to find the one that God has for you, then that changes the narrative. And so you have to use a different strategy, because now it's almost like an interview. you have to really get to know who this person is. And therefore, you have to make sure you're asking hard questions. And this is way before you get captivated by what you see. What you see on the outside might get your attention, but that should not be the determining factor whether or not this person is the person for you. You've got to get down there and ask those serious questions. So I used the parable, the method that Jesus used in the parables, and that was to just describe and tell a story so that people can discover themselves in the story that you're telling. So it's self-discovery, and then including your story, the path to change or the way out, and leave it up to them at the end. And so that very first book was the first time I applied that strategy, and it just took off so well. I'm so appreciative of all the people who supported me along this journey. And from there, using fish as the characters in the book, the catfish who loves garbage, the sturgeon who likes to nibble, the salmon who hates to get caught, the pufferfish who's handsome until you agitate him, he puffs up and becomes very deadly. The readers really loved it and asked for more fish analogies. And I started out with one novel thinking it was only one, and now it's a 4-book series working on 5.
All right. Hello to you. Chosen Pen Publishing is joining us over on IG as well. Wendy's joining us on Facebook, Dr. Velma. And Wendy says, I couldn't date this time and day. Wendy, I'm single and I couldn't date this time.
It's worse. Let me tell you, you better use a strategy today. You better know what you're doing because there's some dangerous people out there.
Okay, now this next comment, now I just want everyone to know, I'm not saying this. I'm reading what someone wrote. I just want to be very clear. ESP Presents says, and you may not like your husband all the time, but you will most definitely love him or her to the core. Get the fairy tale marriage out of your mind. So I just that's Ellen saying that, everyone. I mean, I'm sure you all love your mates all the time. Ellen's just saying that.
There's a difference in that, what you just said. She said you may not like. That means some behavior or something. But love is always there, constant, 100%, 24/7. 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, period, point blank. We love them.
Hey, Ellen, I'm like that about some people in general, though. But that's another conversation.
We're talking about
Look, hey, we're talking about Dr. Velma today, the Catch series. That's what we're talking about. I want to say for those who are just coming in, see, we're already halfway through. See what happens, Dr. Velma, with you.
I know. Ellen did it.
You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. We also are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. So glad you all could be with us. Best-selling author Dr. Velma Bagby is back with us. Dr. Velma, when you hear that every time now, best-selling author Dr. Velma Bagby, what goes through your mind?
Well, I look at other people who go after it, who go after that title. I never did. I didn't. That was not my pursuit, although I'm blessed and happy that it has all 4 books are bestsellers. The entire series. So I'm excited. Of course, that makes me happy, but it was not my focus really when I was writing. I love it. And I have beautiful people around me who were helping me to make sure when books got released, we're going to make this a bestseller. I just thought that was really sweet, but it wasn't my charge to do that. But I'm happy that it happened. And it happened because of the people that supporting the stories and are enjoying the books. So I'm really excited about it. And because once you hit bestseller, you're a bestseller no matter what you write after that. You're just a bestseller. So I'm excited about it.
Love that. Well, you have a great tribe around you, and even some of the ladies that I have mentioned here. I mean, Jacqueline, also Wendy, Miss Queenie, Ellen. I've seen your conversations with her. Yeah. What has it been like for you to have people in your corner? Because unfortunately, not everybody has that, Dr. Velma, as you know. But what has it been like for you to have people who, as Oprah Winfrey says, are rooting for your rise? How does that feel to you?
Because it tells me these are real, genuine people, and I love them back because of who they are. Because they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to join and support me, but they love the work that I'm doing. Because in the beginning, it was lonely. Many people in this world were not friendly. They were not giving. They were not open. I remember reaching out to one author to ask a question because I didn't know about something I needed to do. And they told me to go onto their site and schedule an appointment. Gee, call 1-800, pay me $60 first, and then I'll ask you. And I said to myself, God, help me never to be like that. If somebody needs my help and I can help them with a tip or support, then help me to be that. And the women and the readers, even the males that have gravitated and kept me and supported me, I appreciate them all, because I didn't have that in the beginning.
Yeah. And I should also mention Angela Anderson, who connected us, of Angela Anderson
Yes.
Presents, who connected us together as well. Another great force for sure.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the evolution of this series, Dr. Bam. Again, for those who don't know, I should mention too, I didn't say it earlier, but the first book, well, the first three books in the series take us through a really interesting dynamic between a daughter and father, that being Grayson and Veronica. And I love the fact that we've had some great conversations, Dr. Velma, about their relationship. What has it been like for you to hear from readers about how much they appreciate the relationship between the father and daughter and how they're able to work together to help others?
So many express that they appreciate that father's role in the story and how he shows his daughter grace, because he could have addressed the issues that he saw in her dating habits a totally different way. But again, fathers had a very key role in who their daughter dated and who their daughter married at one point. That was important. And so I just wanted to bring that point back. And it made me reflect on even my own husband and his relationships with his daughters when they were dating. So I thought it was important to present that, because that's the way it used to be. And let me tell you, it doesn't have to be the father in the home. It could be a father figure anywhere that can help you to vet someone that you may be considering.
Yeah, exactly. TAW Production LLC, thank you for joining us over on IG. Jacqueline's joining us on IG as well. Now she says she had to switch platforms. So she's joining us over there. Well, and you're exactly right. When I was reading the books myself, Dr. Velma, I really appreciated the care that Grayson took. And especially we as men, a lot of times we just want to get the point across, and we don't always think about the impact of what we say and how we say it. And Grayson was very intentional, even when sometimes he didn't get it all the way right. He was able to be reflective enough to say, okay, if I want her to really get this, I have to be careful in my approach. So you mentioned earlier about the jigsaw method that you write in. Did you know that they would end up becoming a tag team in the beginning, or did that evolve as the story of them evolved?
It evolved.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Remember, in my style of writing, I don't know the end of the story yet. I'm creating pieces of what I want in the book. And I'm writing them. Today, I'm writing one piece. Tomorrow, I'm writing a different piece. I may go back to the first piece. Then the third day, I might create a totally different piece than what I've written before. And sometimes it isn't until I put those pieces together, then I then add more content to what I've written so that they blend and flow. And sometimes I have to add towards the end to make sure people understand the conclusion of the story. But none of that happens in the very beginning. I just write in pieces, and that's why it's called the jigsaw puzzle method. I'm not an outliner at all.
Yeah. Ellen says, yes, there are no fathers around during the vetting process these days. And Wendy says, the series of the book looks good behind you, Dr. Man. I told her the same thing, Wendy. It really does look good back there. So let's get into the fourth book, because the fourth book in the series is different than the first three. So just so you all know, on the Amazon side, so the first book, I was just showing you guys, To Catch No One Once. After that, there was this book. I'm going to highlight it for you guys in the carousel on Amazon. That is The Wrong Catch. You can see it there.
Those famous twins.
Yeah. And then after that, you have The Wrong Catch Shall Tear Down the House. Now, I'll just briefly say the difference in this one is the fact that this one is written for the guys, with the guys in mind. Right. But I want to talk about the newest book, Dr. Velma, because Dr. Velma always makes me lose track of time. I'm just
You sure that wasn't Ellen?
No, it probably was the host. It probably was me. Okay. But because we get to talk about one thing, I think, wait a minute, I got to make sure I talk about. So let's talk about the newest book. So the newest book is The Catch Book of Fools. That's her newest bestseller. You guys can see it there. You all can get, just so you all know, and for a limited time, the Kindle editions of each one of the books I just showed you are only 99 cents. So that means you can get all 4 books here on Amazon, the Kindle editions, for $4. That is a great deal. If you guys are involved in the Amazon projects, TAW Production says that's how he writes as well on IG. That's the
Yay!
Jigsaw does it as
Yay!
well. Um, so again,
So we're
all of
not
the
an oddball.
so again, all the Kindle editions of this series are only 99 cents. So Dr. Velma, this one is the most different of the four.
Yeah.
Even though the third book in the series kind of flipped things up, and you had the men kind of being the focal point. This one is a nonfiction title. Why did you decide the Catch Book of Fools was going to be the next book?
Well, I try to prayerfully look for direction anytime I'm writing. So that's the one thing I want to say. I look for guidance in terms of what comes next. And I remember 2 weeks before April Fool, getting this feeling that I needed to. I feel like God was telling me, write this book, release it on April Fool's Day. We talk about foolish behavior throughout the series. We talk about people who act fools, what God describes as a fool. I'm not calling anybody a fool, but it's his description. Over 200 scriptures that talks about fools and foolish behavior. He led me to write this book and release it on April 1st. I'm going, how am I going to do that? And then I had to research to make sure that I didn't realize that you can have multiple genres in a series. So this is the first one that is not contemporary fiction. It is Christian nonfiction because it's full of scriptures. And I felt that at some point people are going to know what's the proof of what you're saying. Where does it really say that? And I found so many scriptures, I narrowed it down to 80 so that you could see that this is what a foolish person looks and acts like, and see it for yourself. So when you see this or see this behavior in a person, you know that that's a red flag. You better run. You better run. Run, Forrest, run.
Did y'all see what she did there? She put a Forrest Gump reference in here as we talk about the Bible.
I'm just saying, you see it here, from narcissistic behavior to someone who's arrogant to someone who hates to listen. Those are all foolish behaviors, and they were right here. They were already sitting there waiting for us to see them and find them, and then to use them. So either there must be a reason that God put so many scriptures referencing foolish behavior. And I say he didn't want us to be foolish, didn't want us to be a fool. He definitely didn't want us to marry a fool. So it helps us to avoid those kind of behaviors, even if we're married. And that's another thing, Cyrus. I have married couples that are following this series because they're picking up on things that helps to remind them of what they should avoid or not become.
Yeah, love that. So let's have some fun here. Dr. Velma, I'm just going to pick up the book and turn to a page, and let's see what we get. This is a pre-plan, so I'm just going to open it up.
Okay.
We're gonna choose one, and let's see what we get here. Let's see. All right, page 22. Okay. Proverbs 18:7a. His mouth is his destruction. Well, that's a good one.
Ooh.
What can result from a mate constantly speaking harmful words? Interesting. So just so you all know the way it works, Dr. Velma has the scripture there. She then has a prompt and then a place for you to be able to make your own notes. So Dr. Velma, let's talk about that one.
Yep.
Proverbs 18:7a. His mouth is his destruction. What can result from a mate constantly speaking harmful words? What do you want the reader to think about with that one?
Well, first of all, remember scripture talks about the fact that out of your mouth, you can speak both harm or blessings. You can either bless or you can curse. And cursing means that it's dangerous, it's harmful, it's deadly. Words hurt, words cut. And so if you use the wrong words to a person that you claim to love, you're cutting that person constantly with what you have to say about them. You're cutting them down. If you ever had an opportunity to see someone who's come out of an abusive relationship like this, someone who's spoken to them like this, they have very little self-esteem. They feel very small, very little worth about themselves. They don't see their worth and their value. And so this person can cut that person so much to the point where they begin to bleed. And bleeding means that what they used to feel about themselves and what they used to think about themselves slowly begins to just go away and diminish. And so that's dangerous to just be in a marriage with this kind of person. So you need to know if he's cutting you on a date, what is that telling you? Red flag, stop, retreat, extremely dangerous. That's what the red flag is for.
But Dr. Velma, she can change him.
Well, these gifted nourishers, my fellow female, my fellow females, with this gift to nurture, they forget that nurturing is not for that purpose. Only God can change the heart of a person, not you. That's not your job. That's not your assignment. You weren't called to be a fixer-upper. That's not, we do that to houses, not to people.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
Cyrus?
I like that. I like that, Dr. Velma. That's right. That's right, Dr. Velma. All right, Dr. Velma, we're going to do one more. I'm going to turn. We're going to do page 60. 68. Dr. Velma.
What?
Page 68. Proverbs 25,
hey!
24.
Ladies, beware. It's in book number 3 for the men.
A rooftop or nagging wife.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement you have there is nagging complainer is foolish. Talk to us about that one, Dr. Velma.
Yeah, I've had conversations with women, and sometimes in the conversation, the woman comes across so negative. I'm going, wow, who would want to be around that and hear that constantly? And it says, the scripture says, a man inside of a house living with a woman who nags and complains all the time would rather sit on the rooftop than be inside the house with her. But men today, and many of the men that I've met, they found other means. There's other places they hang out too, rather than be home with this kind of person. And these are the issues that happen when you ignore those red flags while dating this person, because many people can really put on a show while you're dating them. And then you get married to them and find out they're not really who they thought they were. But you saw some signs of this kind of behavior in the beginning and you just ignored them.
Yeah. Ellen says, love it. Cyrus knows how to land a conversation. Went right with you guys. Conversation. Yeah, definitely. Hey, I didn't plan it either. Kimberly, hello to you. Good to be able to see you as well.
Yeah.
Kimberly Letnick. Well, Dr. Velma, it is always a great conversation with you. So as you guys can see, you need to get the whole series. So again, you can get the Catch series, the Kindle editions, for only 99 cents each here on Amazon, or you can get the paperback edition like I have. You can buy those as well for all 4 books in the series, as well as the other books that Dr. Velma has written as well. We have some of them in the carousel here on Amazon. Now, if you guys are not joining us on Amazon, if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and that's it. You guys, you will see a link that will bring you over to Amazon. For you guys who are watching us on IG or X, you guys will have to go to my page to be able to get the link from there. So, Dr. Velma, as I mentioned, you have a lot of more things on your website as well. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Yeah, they can connect with me on my website, drvelmabagby.com, and I'm on all social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby or author Dr. Velma Bagby. Right. Yes, it does.
Well, look, we appreciate you, Dr. Velma. Continued success to you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. More than welcome. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, thank you so much for watching. We will talk to you soon. Take care.